Good morning. Today is the 21st of February 2024 and I'm going to go through my trading plan for today. Before we start, let's just recap on the news today. We've got Fed speaking at 1 o'clock, which could move the market. Got some bond auctions as well, one. And obviously we've got FOMC minutes at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and that will most likely do something to the market. So I won't be trading around that time, but I'll be sitting here watching it. So back onto my charts, and we're currently looking at the hourly time frame for the S&P 500 index futures. I trade the MES mainly, but this is the same chart for the ES and the MES. Got some decent levels today. Okay, let's clear the screen. So first place I'm really watching is yesterday's low. This happens to be this area point of control down here at 49.69, and I'll be looking for a bounce, and I'll be keeping my stop pretty tight below that pivot. Let's just zoom in. So this is the bounce I'll be watching for, and my stop is going to be immediately below that pivot. So 49.69 with maybe a $2 to $3 stop. I'll probably keep it tighter than that initially, and I'll look to re-enter if it does break through. But if it closes, if it does take my stop out and we push down, then I'll be looking for the pullback into this area for a rejection down to continue the hourly downtrend we're seeing that note at the moment. Putting in a higher low, higher high, lower high, lower low, equal low there. So the new low there, and we weren't able to take out yesterday's high in the pre-market, nor were we able to take out the high from Monday, which wasn't much volume on Monday because the market was closed. But that's where we are right now. You can probably draw in a trend line coming down as well, and look at that, it fits almost exactly. So if we break over this trend line, then we could potentially be looking for a bit of a uptrend. Note at the moment we have put in a higher low, but we are in pre-market at the moment. We'll see where this goes. So basically I'm watching 469 for the bounce with a very tight stop. If it does break down, pulls back, I'm watching for a break and retest of this area to continue to short down. Potential target for both the long play. Long play, I'll be targeting probably the VWAP area, 49.80. And again, there's this area here, 49.80. Kind of that area for a potential exit, and obviously if we get above that area, we'll be breaking that trend line which we just drew in as well, which we don't want to. If we do break that, then I'll be looking to get out. If we do break down this area and it comes back and retests, then potential target will be the current existing area we've got, so it'll be 49.56, and then we've got this pivot. Let's just reset the chart. And then we have this area of demand where we could look for a reversal or a take profit. So they're the two areas. That's the two trades I'm watching if we come down to that area. As for a bounce, I'm only considering 49.40. Don't really like this area. I've got the level in. I'm going to keep it there as reference, but I think this area here I prefer. Kind of 49.30 through to 49.30, and the reason for that, we've got a couple of pivots there, top of pivots there, we came in and touched it there, so I think if we get a reaction down to that area, then I'll be looking for a bounce. That's the only place really. As regarding the break and retest of the pre-market high, a tough one to do when we're in a downtrend, or in an hourly downtrend. If you look at the daily, I'll go to the daily in a second, we've just broken this daily trend line as well, so potentially showing signs of weakness. However, we can see RSI is quite low, so potentially we could see a bit of a turnaround. And if I were to find an area to go long, it's got to be at the 5,000. So if we break above the 5,000, that's yesterday's high. I kind of like break and retest long. I'll keep an eye on the pre-market high as well as a high risk break and retest, but I probably will be watching for a reject at 499, 49.90 should I say. So that's the area. Let's just add that level in as well. And that's it really for the ES. I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. So to sum up, we're watching yesterday's low, which is 49.69 for a potential bounce, or we're watching it for a break and retest short. Pre-market high, high risk break and retest, or we can watch for rejection, remembering that if we draw the trend line, that pre-market high happens to be right on the trend line, so it's a significant area. So if we get up to there, I'll be looking for either a rejection or a break and retest. And then I'm watching 5,000 area as well, and that's either going to be for a rejection coming off of this area of consolidation, you know, tops of, and it's a bit of a confidence area, or we're looking for the break and retest long. So that's it really for MES. SPY, it's very similar. You know, potentially, same with ES, we could be starting to put in this kind of head and shoulders pattern maybe. I'll come into QQQ in a minute where you can see a head and shoulders pattern. Let's just do the levels for SPY. Same as ES, quite like the bounce down at yesterday's low, and it happens to be a low from a few days back as well. So I quite like the bounce down there, or I'll watch for the break and retest short. Not a big fan of the pre-market high when we're against this trend, and we've got a bit of resistance above at yesterday's high as well, but could consider it high risk long against a trend, so it'd be classified as a scalp. But maybe 49, 496, 497 for a potential rejection or a break and retest long. And this level down here is 494.40 for a bounce or break and retest short. Again, target will be in this area of this pivot area where it's significant, a bit like ES. So 491 as a target if we go short. Qs kind of got this hourly head and shoulders, not the greatest pattern. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Neckline is the level we've been watching for some time. 427.40. This region to 426, so a dollar neckline. We haven't broken through it yet. I don't really like any levels. Potential rejection at 430.20, and you can go with a bounce again at 423.50, but there's nothing really. There's a little bit of support, not much volume as well in that area, so I don't really like it. I think if we break down below 423.50, we can possibly look for a break and retest short, and we've got this void below, bit of a gap until we get into this region, 418 to 416. So potentially looking for a short, and don't forget we've got this lower high as well. We're putting in another a steeper angle for the sell-off as well, and we've got this area, kind of the neckline area. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, seeing a potential weakness we can probably get rid of. It's interesting to see these trend lines though. These are drawn in back in the beginning of February. Just put those two together, and it hasn't really been touched until we came back in a few days ago. Same here, put these two trend lines together, and it was kind of touched there. We finally broke through, we held it, came back down, pulled back, and we touched it again. So strange how they're kind of relevant a few weeks later and still in play. I've left them there more for reference really. So let's look at Nasdaq next. So we can get rid of this trend line, I don't need that anymore. So again, you can see that same not perfect head and shoulders pattern. Neckline is the area we've had marked up for some time. 17,500 area, this area here. The only rejection I can take would be 1770. Got volume coming in as well, that area, and the point of controls up there. So that also acts as potential resistance. But break below yesterday's low and a retest of 17,450 to 460 to 17,500. We can look for a potential short, and there's not much volume below. You can see there's void of volume, and the only place I can see, if we zoom out, see where the volume still there's lack of volume in this area, and the only place I can see for a potential bounce 17,100, this area here. And there's a bit of volume coming in. We've got the point of control down at 17,000. It's a psychological number as well. Similar to what we've got up here, it's 18,000, two psychological numbers. So potential short to fill this void. It's the only decent trade I can see really. Okay, looking at oil next. So oil's still doing what it does. Yeah, hasn't really done much. Yesterday, kind of a nothing day, kind of sold off, regained half of it. As we said before, we need to break out over 78 to 78.50 to continue the trend up. Still in an uptrend, we've not broken anything really yet. This pivot's the major pivot, 75.50. You can watch for a bounce at 75.50. Put that in. You can see it's area of confidence as well. Tops of candles, bottoms, bottoms, bottoms. Came in, became the bottom, still the floor. So we need, and that's we can use that as our area to watch. If we break down, we can look for shorts. If we break above this area, look for longs, but nothing at the moment. Gold. Doing for time. Gold looks like it's kind of squeezing a little bit. I do quite like this. Got this pattern setting up, and we're kind of squeezing. So potentially looking for one or two trades: the breakdown, the pullback, and the short. So 2040 for a break and retest of this ascending wedge, or 2044 for the breakout, the pullback into that area long. And you can see the two targets, 2056 and 2014. You could argue there's another target in between, probably this area here at 2025, and it's also this, the purple line is the 200 moving average, so we could watch for a bounce off of that area. So that's the only thing I can see on that. It looks pretty good, setting up quite nicely, this wedge. If I can go all the way back. Next is the M2K, which is the Micro E-mini Russell 2000 index. This is the futures again. As you know, I only trade futures really, but I do keep an eye on Qs and SPY and some of the Fab 7 stocks, you know, Apple, Meta, and all them, just because they move the market quite well, so it's worth keeping an eye on them. This area here, kind of, look at that, talked about, put that level in yesterday, and hopefully somebody picked up that trade, come into it, bounced off it 4 times. Tuesday, is it Wednesday today? Yeah. And then we came back down, we bounced off it a third time in the post-market or the pre-market, and now we're below it. So potentially you can look for a short to continue the trend down. And if we break this trend line, so we've got this trend line in place, and that's kind of our guide for staying short, or we can break through, come back up and look for the long. We've got to really get over that pre-market high pivot for a long. So break and retest above the pre-market high, bearing in mind you are below the 200, yesterday's high, and the 50. It'll be a tough long. I wouldn't take it. I really want to come back up to here. It would be ideal. 2020 bounce and retest, or trend continuation. Trend's your friend until it's not, and we're kind of broken down. We're in that area now. Yesterday's low, pre-market low. So probably the most likely would be the break of the pre-market low, continue trend down. Target wise, it's pretty obvious. We've got, you can't see there's a level below here as well, and it's this point of control. So that's a potential target at 1960, 1955, and that's a bounce area. And then we'll look at the Dow Jones Industrial. This is the 1 hour time frame again. All I can see again, pre-market low, yesterday's low as well, break and retest of this area. Could watch for the bounce. And like the last one, we got pre-market high into a bit of resistance above. I don't quite like the long. We have to clear that, come back down and push up. So high risk break and retest of pre-market high. Higher probability break and retest of yesterday's high, and obviously that's a rejection point as well. And that's it really. SPX, do want to keep an eye on this today. 5,000 is the magic number. So like yesterday, if we come back up into this 5,000 area, we gap fill, which happens to be yesterday's low. Is that right? Must be. And then I'm looking for, oh, it says yesterday's low. That's only because Monday wasn't a trading day, so that's Friday's low. So I'm looking for a rejection up there, but I'll probably take it on the ES. And that's probably about it really. Let's just go back to the MES, see if there's anything changed. Let's go to the daily, just see where we are with the daily. So as we said earlier, it's broken below this trend line. Looking pretty bearish, 3 candles down. So today's the day. It's either going to continue the trend down, or we're going to see a turnaround. We are below that trend line, below the 8 moving average, but we're still holding the 20. So this is a key area. 49.67, 49.60 is a key area. So we need to stay above that area. That's our bounce area we're watching for. If we break down, then we could be seeing a change of trend on the daily. And I think that's it really. Let's just, while we're here, let's just put some moving trend lines in. We've got that trend line then. Hang on, wrong one. Let's draw up, let's connect the top to that one. And let's connect those 3. So these are the trend lines we're watching. We've broken that one. We had a slight decline, and now we've got a steeper decline as well. Probably better on the hourly. Yeah. So keep an eye on that area there. It normally shows a sign that momentum's shifting. Kind of connect those 2 up. And you can probably keep that in place. I'll probably keep that in place just as reference. If we break below, you can see it breaking that structure, and obviously we've broken this trend line as well. A bit messy, I'll clear it up later. That's it. Okay, well, thank you for watching. Just to recap the levels again quickly, we're watching for pre-market, yesterday's low bounce at 49.69, 49.70 area. If we see, I'll have my stop really tight below there. If we break down, come back in, then I'll be looking to reverse my position, or I'll be out by then, and I'll be looking for the short. First target, this is lower volume area, 49.56. Next target will be this area of demand at the bottom. Bounce wise, if we see it bounce, then I'll be looking to get out of the VWAP or the break of the structure, or when we get back to this. That's why I want to keep the trend line in place, because if I am long from here, I can see a potential area we could see it reject, and obviously we could be starting to fill in this area before we either break out or break down. And then higher risk pre-market high break and retest. It's against the hourly trend, it's not quite against the daily trend yet, so it's a higher risk trade for that reason. But if we do, then we can watch it with a potential target of the 50 moving average at 5,000, which is a psychological number. And I'll be looking for a short when SPX gets to if it can bounce back to 5,000. And on the ES, that will probably be around 50.10. This area here, area of high volume, probably coincides with when the SPX was also at the highest volume. And that's it really. Hopefully you have a good day trading, trade safe and manage risk. Okay, thank you for watching.